Thanks, Jonathan. Good morning, everybody. Thanks to everybody for making the special effort to tune in, mainly from the North American region, but obviously welcoming visitors from other regions that may join us. I know we have some guests also from the UK that couldn't make yesterday's broadcast. We have a packed agenda to go through today. I just popped that up on the screen so you know where we're at. We're going to take a very quick look at what's already in Utilities, version 16 and previous to that, just to look at some of the key features for those that have maybe not seen the module before. Today's focus is really going to be on what the new modules are, and the best way to show that is a series of demos that we've got lined up. And then towards the end we'll talk a little bit about availability and download, and how to get support. And as Jonathan mentioned, we'll be throwing it open to questions and answers. So to kick off, get started, let's look at some of the more popular features that I certainly come across from a support point of view. The advanced POP, the purchase order processing, has been very popular over the years, because by virtue it includes invoice matching and lots of small incremental features that aren't in the basic RMS product. Gift loyalty adds value to retailers that want to give their customers loyalty points and dollar back value by virtue of a voucher. The advanced item wizards fill in many of the gaps again in the base RMS product, when making en masse changes to products. And Fashion Bundle has been very good again in helping retailers better handle matrix items. Picking and packing and scan to bag are great for sort of warehouse type operations where you've got mail order or internet type shipping. And the item sync is one of the HQ type utilities where it aims to kind of marry up items that may be created down at store by mistake, so it populates those up to HQ. Likewise, global customer update is used down at store. Traditionally, you can only make changes to global customers from HQ, but this kind of pause button will make a real-time call and update things like shipping addresses in real time. Accounts receivable allow you to email sort of monthly statements to account customers, and the e-receipt sends electronic receipts from the POS. That's been very popular of late. Lot tracking and batch tracking. What you're able to do there is add sort of expiry dates to products and individual lot numbers. And last but not least, we have buyback, which is great for colleges and universities, where they'll take back things like textbooks at the end of the season semester. So a few more. We don't have too much time to spend on it. Really going to be looking at what's new. We have 3 core features which I'll go into in a second. The item component utility, for anybody that didn't see it last week, that is a great tool for any retailer that uses kits and assemblies, again filling in some of the defects in the core product. Anyone that uses task pads, we have a utility where you can, if you're making extensive changes, you're able to export those changes out to your stores. And of course, customer price matrix, we looked at that in detail in last week's session. Able to offer special price plans for different groups of customers. So today we'll be looking at 3 of the kind of bigger utilities within, bigger modules within the utility. We have the touch to go through. Will be a quick look at archiving, and towards the end we'll be looking at weights and measures. So to get started with our first module for today, which is the touch, or RR touch as we used to call it. Well, what is touch? It's as the name implies, obviously it's a touch screen system for use down at the POS. You don't have to use it on all the POSes, but you can nominate which point of sales that you want to use it on. It comes with store-only versions and also HQ-controlled versions. You may remember one of the drawbacks of the kind of integrate or the inherent task pad within RMS is there's no kind of HQ control with it. You can't, determine which stores have which task pads, whereas the Retail Realm one you can. You can assign different layouts to different registers, so you could be working on a layout in the background and then switch them when you're ready to deploy them. And you can, all the kind of within the layout, as we call it, all the standard register functions that you see within RMS, we've replicated those and we've grouped them logically, so it makes it very easy to pick up and learn and use. The buttons are very powerful, which we'll be looking at shortly through the demos. And anyone that uses matrix items, not necessarily in clothing and fashion, but perhaps things like paints and DIY type products, makes it very easy to pick and add those to the basket when you're in a matrix type environment. And then we have a few other kind of sort of sub-utilities thrown in, things like follow me, ability to fast returns and fast scan, which we won't be looking at today, but they're there just for your reference. So best thing is to, I think, to show you a demo. What we're going to do first of all is look at the like an overview, if you like, of the touch. I've just brought up on the screen now what it would look like at the POS once the POS starts, once you've logged in. On the left here, I'll just take you through the kind of geography of it. On the left we have our kind of grouping buttons here, so we have different buttons that we can program and make available to the cashier. Things like fast selling items, departmental buttons, category items, maybe buttons by supplier. And then this middle area, this grid, again customizable, they will be the resultant products that are exposed to the cashier. So we're going to be looking at, on our demo today, we're going to be looking at the colored buttons there, the static, the dynamic and the drill down. They're the ones I'm going to be showing you. And I've just pressed my fast selling items now, so I've got a list of 12 or so products there. And they would change dynamically, so depending on what I sell day to day, the products that are offered up in that button set will be very, very much dynamic. So if I move along, likewise we've got grocery items, they're items coming from the grocery department, so on and so forth. We can also get items by doing a lookup. So along the bottom here is really where I've got my equivalent of the RMS 12 function keys. And as I mentioned, all the functions are nicely grouped. So we can find an item very quickly using this method and add that to the transaction as well. Likewise with a customer, I've got the ability to again get access to all my customer functions, set the customer, look at shipping addresses and so on, and I can do that within this sort of group of buttons here. So I'm going to quickly set a customer just to show you some of the other touch isn't only about the item buttons, it's about some of the other underlying functionality, and I thought it'd be good to show that to you today as well. And I've just set to the customer Gregory Webber on the transaction. So moving along, we have the next we have the mode button. So we're able to do things like abort the transaction, make a no sale, set it to a quotation or work order. So all those kind of other modes are fully supported as well. And hopefully you get the essence of how quick the interface is. It's very responsive. I'm not on a particularly fast machine here today. I can add products very quickly and cancel the transaction very quickly if I need to. So let's just quickly scan along and show you some of the other buttons. You've got the open and close there. You sort of start and end of day procedure there. Working right along to recalling transactions. etc., etc. And then obviously when we're ready we would tender. That's the sort of big button here. Moving around to the top, we have our area up here at the top. So just where my mouse is now, we have the dollar value of the transaction, and then the area at the top, the status area, is where the kind of last couple of products on the transaction will be shown, so that they would kind of scroll around. And if I need to see the full set of products on my basket, on my transaction, then I just click on that, and then it can expose and contract as needed. So we don't show the full list of products on that have been scanned all the time. The real estate has been dedicated to the buttons, but it's there if you need to see it. One of the great features I like is that you get the line number. You don't get that on the standard RMS, I believe, so it makes it nice and easy to see what items you've got and how many, and you can kind of keep track as you're scanning. We can make changes, we can edit the item, we can change the description just by touching on the item, and then we can change the quantity and obviously the price, and attribute any reason code that may prompt. And then when we're ready, we can tender it. So we've got a dollar value of 1881 there. I just hit the tender button when I'm ready, and then at this point it drops back into RMS. So this is one of the only times it does that, purely based on the hooks. So if there are any other third-party add-ons that need to sort of have their hooks serviced, then that sort of helps guarantee that they'll be executed in the right way. So that kind of pretty much concludes our quick demo. Very flexible, very fast to do things like returns and exchanges. If you need to see more, you can obviously download a demo of this and get going. We'll talk about that a bit later. So that concludes the first demo. Just moving on, we're going to look at the button types now, just to show you some of the power there behind the application. We have three types. We have the static button. That's really looking at sort of things like scanning your popular items. So if you're a coffee shop, you'd have your cappuccino, your latte, your Americano pre-programmed, always in the same place every time, so that you can easily get to them. But we can also do things like launch custom POS button. We can run an external program. We can even print a file, maybe open a folder and show some PDFs or something. So let's have a look at that. So we've got our orange button here, and I've called that static just for the demo. So as you can see, we've got a tennis ball there up at the top, and I can press that a number of times. It shows me how many I've actually got on the transaction, and also shows the stock as well. And if I go ahead and click this calculator button, you can see I've run the external program, which is the Windows calculator. Just one I happen to choose, and close that down, and just gives me handy access to it. If I want to print a file, I can do that. So it's just going to go into Notepad and print this file. It could be a daily task list for your employees. And then likewise, I could bring up some PDFs that could be price lists or information about products and services. So different kind of applications. So what I want to do now is just back out, come out of the POS, and just go into the Utilities application. You'll see I'm into version 17 now. Looks pretty similar to version 16, although it's got all the new functionality built in. And then what I want to do just briefly is just show you how the registers and the layouts kind of talk to each other. They're the list of layouts that we have. So I have one called Retail and one called Cafe. And the screen that you're seeing now, that's how you switch between the different layouts. So if I want to edit a layout, I click Properties, and it takes me into what you see is what you get designer. So it looks like I'm in the POS, but I'm actually in the back office moving buttons around and designing my screen layouts. So I'm just going to quickly show you how easy it is to add another item, another static button. So I can just copy and paste maybe a similar item, and then just drop into here and just find the new product that has come in. So let's do that. I'm going to search for the word ball, and yep, I've got my premium tennis balls now. And just go through the sequence here, click OK when I'm ready, and then I've got my second item. And it's very easy to move these about. I just cut and paste. You can see there it's very easy to use. There's no programming skills, no X and Y coordinates, no HTML. Very, very straightforward to get going. I go back into my POS, I log in, and then the touch display will show automatically once the hooks fire up, and I should be in my static display any moment. Yep, there we go. I've got my extra tennis ball and they've been moved. So very, very straightforward, and as I say, very easy to train. So just switching gears and moving back, looking at the next button type, which is the dynamic button. So I guess you're thinking, well, maybe when we get new products into the store, we bring new seasonal products, do I have to go and program every button? Well, no. You would set up some dynamic buttons that would maybe bring back whole departments or whole categories or a grouping of products, and they would just appear automatically. So we can do it by department, category, maybe supplier. Maybe you're interested to see what items are on the web or what's in stock. You can do that via the dynamic buttons. So again, we've got a short demo. Let me just switch on to that. Yeah, so there's the POS, and if I click on the drill down, sorry, is that the correct one? Just bear with me, sorry. Yeah, we're going to click on the dynamic. You can see I've brought back a list of products there, and I'll show you shortly why those particular products have been shown. What we're going to do is go again back into the back office, and I'll just quickly show you how that dynamic button's been programmed. So I just double click on it, and then it gives me the properties for it. And you can see I've got down at the bottom, I've got the color and the fonts that I'm using. And then we'll have a look at this area in a second. But for anybody that's used the RMS type QRP reports, so you've got the manager reports. Anybody that's used those, you will be familiar with this type of query, this filter. And what I've done, I've brought back, I've told it that on that button, when I press that button, I want it to show me all the items that contain the word small in the actual description. And if we jump back momentarily, you can see I've got small yellow moons, I've got small baby doll, small pink bears, new matrix small. So it's kind of on the fly bringing back those items dynamically. And if we use that filter, we could maybe bring back items on the web. We could bring back items from a certain category or department. We could bring back items from a certain supplier. And again, when new items come in stock, they will obviously appear as well. And you can have multiple levels of filter. So very powerful, and again very easy, and I guess the familiar is the word. People will be familiar with those kind of interfaces. And on the actual buttons, we can decide what we want to show. Do we want the item lookup code? Well, we don't really need that. We could have price or description, or we can have a number of things there, as well as stock information. So we've got a whole list of things to choose from. So just moving on then, that's pretty much concludes that part of the demo. And next we've got the drill downs. So with drill downs, this is like a nested type experience. So you may want to press on the department and then drill down to the category, and then maybe sort of subcategory, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a second. So we have 6 levels of drill down, and we provide some templates. And this kind of mechanism works with the subdescriptions. And this is really great if you maybe have your own, if you're a third-party integrator or vendor, and you have your own add-ons and you wish to somehow link this with some external data, and you can do that through SQL, creating your own custom drill downs, and we'll see that very shortly on the demo. So back at the POS, we'll just click on the drill downs to see how that works. You can see I've got my departments in this particular example, and then we're going to be looking at the sporting goods. So one of the items that I want to get through to is the tennis ball, which belongs to that department and category. And here we have the category of tennis, and we have sports and also bicycle. So we'll just kind of familiarize you with that item. We also have subdescriptions I've put on there. So people often ask me, Tony, the department and category are great, but we need more levels. We need subcategory. How do we do that? And subdescription is the one, again, the one tool that you have to offer that to customers and start to allow them to organize their inventory. So an RR Touch, the great thing, makes use of that. So if we click on sporting goods, we go down one level, and then I can click on tennis, we go down another level, and then if I click on balls, we start to go down the sub-description levels now. So we've got standard, and we can press that, and then we should find hopefully our tennis ball. There we go. And then add that to the transaction. So very good for if you've got many different products and you need to kind of find a way of ordering them with hierarchy. So what we're going to quickly do here, very quickly, I'm mindful of the time, we're going to just create a second product, and you can see it's come up here under a deluxe. I've added a new subdescription called deluxe, and immediately through the way the query works, it picks up on any new products. I can click on that and then click on deluxe and then get through to my new item, and I got my second sort of tennis ball item on the transaction there, just TB2, you can see. So very powerful, very flexible and easy to use. Just want to quickly show you some of the other aspects now. We've got the drill downs and the layouts. Just briefly show you this. We can click on, go back to our retail layout and just show you how this is programmed up. These are our different 6 levels. You can see I've got my first one called department, and then category, and then subdescription. And I'll just toggle through those just so you can see them. And all these templates are pre-programmed, so you don't have to go and do any programming work here. If you want to program your own, you can do. I can quickly show you that. These are the list of drill downs that you get, and then somewhere here I have my own one called Tony's drill down. Actually, there we go. Tony's all items. And just for the programmers that are on online today, you can see the SQL there at the top. It says select star from item. So this particular drill down will bring back all the items, irrespective of whether they're inactive, in stock, or whatever. So it just gives you a flavor for how easy, from a technical point of view, it is to customize. So hopefully we've covered a lot there. We've looked at the touch, the different button sets, and the overall functionality. Hopefully that's given you a very good flavor for what we have on offer. Obviously mentioned it works in a HQ environment, and that's a quick screenshot showing you how you would configure your different registers and stores. And just a quick recap, really. I think the messaging is that you can create a bespoke look and feel for any store, and accommodate a wide range of products and sort of verticals and way of working, not only for hospitality but for any other type that really need a good way of finding items. maybe not barcoded. It's very easy to train and use and navigate. You can deliver excellent customer service, and it's configurable in terms of grid size, so if you've got different monitor sizes, you can accommodate those accordingly. So you could have 4 buttons on the screen, or you could have 16 or multiples. The dynamic buttons, they respond to new items, as I mentioned, and you can integrate to third-party apps. So that concludes the touch demo. This demo is slightly shorter, so thanks for staying with us. We just have the utility, the archive utility, to look at next, and then we'll have a quick look at weights and measures at the end. And we're kind of good to go. So archive, what is archive? Well, it's a very useful tool to keep your store and HQ databases small in size, manageable. You can copy data from your main database to the archive one, or you can just truncate data. You're not interested in it anymore, you can just chop it, or you can do both. Once you've got your archive database, that could be, you know, your kind of data warehouse, and it's important to mention the kind of salient point is that only transactions that belong to closed batches are archived out. So again, hopefully the best way to show you is via a demo. We'll quickly just switch that on, and this is our archiving screen from within Utilities. So we would enable this module, and then you're ready to start using it. The screen now just shows you the different sort of modes, so I can copy, truncate. Normally you would do both, and then you would set an archive date, so it's going to archive anything up to that date. This is where I will set my archive database, so my SQL, it could be on the same server or a different server. And then once I'm connected, I'm ready to go. So I just hit the archive button. Once I click yes, it's going to start checking the database objects to make sure everything's going to match. And it just runs through those. And then it will prepare the source database. And then once it's done that, it's going to prepare itself to start copying. So it will go through all the key tables, and we have a list of those tables that are archived out. I believe there's room also to include custom tables for any add-ons as well. So we're done. That's it. That's a kind of periodic, I guess you would set a reminder once a month or however often you need to do that. And again, it's I think just worth having the utility just for that function. So that concludes the archiving. Next on the list, and our final kind of session for today, are weights and measures. As you know, weights and measures, I guess scale integration has always traditionally been an integral part of RMS Store. And it allows the POS to connect to counter type scales, you know, for I guess like a grocery type environment or DIY, you know, anything where you need to weigh pieces and parts or product or food. And it does that through the OPOS set of objects. We make use of the standard sort of item type called weighed within RMS. And with our add-on, we can nominate only the certain registers that you want to do weighing on for weighing. So if you have scales, or if you have POSs that aren't for weighing, don't have a scale connected, then the system can block the sale of those items. Different registers can have different unit of measures. So for instance, you may have a scale measuring one type of product, you know, that's measuring in kilos or pounds, and then a different type of product, you know, maybe in ounces, maybe a finer product. We support Imperial, you know, for North America, and obviously global for Australia and EMEA regions. And then new to 17 is we have this centralized configuration that I mentioned to do with the unit of measure. We've done a lot of work around tiers, so we've improved the open tier that we've always had, but we've introduced things like predefined tears, which allow you to hit buttons to engage preset tear values. So we've also gained the approval of the Australian National Weights and Measures Institute, and in doing so we've made some generic kind of receipt format improvements. We've improved the customer display support. So previously when you were showing weighed items on a pole display, the formatting was often a little bit out, especially when dealing with large numbers or quantities or dollar values. So we've made some drastic improvements around that to tidy that up. We support cash rounding, which is key in Australia. We've also improved just the general look and feel of the product. So for Australia, it must be used with the touch product. That was one of the stipulations. And generally speaking, I think the features that we're showing you today for North America and for the touch and the weights and measures support are just general across the board. They're an extension from that point of view of what we've had prior to version 17. And we have a dedicated implementation guide in addition to the normal setup manual. So just to show you some screens, I'm mindful of the time. We have probably about another 5 minutes to go, so please do stay with us if you can. We have the register configuration screen where we can nominate different unit of measures for different registers. So one register could be in 3 digits, another could be in 2. And then we can set up our boxes and tears and pallets. Once we've done that, we can closely define how we're going to handle each item. So, for item A, we want to give this an open tear, but item B could be a predefined tear. And then we can configure our touch as per the previous demo. So our final demo for the day is around weights and measures. I'm going to actually weigh some product now and just walk you through that. So just bear with me. So this is our touch display here, working with weights and measures. On the right hand side we have a counter scale, and it's live at the moment. If I show you here, if I just touch the scale, you can see that in operation. And then what I've done, on the touch I've just popped a button there, a static button called weighed items, and I've just got a few products to weigh for you to show you how easy it is for it to work at the POS. So first of all, we're going to weigh some oranges, and for this I've set up a predefined tear because we always sell oranges at my store in like some sort of pallet or tray or case. So this pallet weighs 35 grams. It's not the biggest pallet in the world, but hopefully shows you the demonstration. And when I click on the orange button, it shows me my list of predefined tears. So I can describe those large, medium or small, or pink, red, however I want to code those up. And you can see what it's done there. It's read the weight from the scale and then added that to the transaction, 195 grams. And this will obviously work in pounds and ounces as well for people viewing from those regions today. So next I've got some lamb chops, and that's just a straightforward item, no tears, no packaging, obviously no real lamb chops today, just a block of glass. And I'm just moving through the demo now, so we'll remove that from the scale. And last but not least, I've got some pea soup. This is a container, so I've got like a soup carton here. It's just a Microsoft plastic cup, and this has got a tear of 30 grams, so I just go ahead and remember that because this is a variable tear. It could be, one customer could be bringing a carton in of 30, it could be 60 for the next customer. So I just hit the pea soup button, and then I would type in my 30 grams, and then it will use that to calculate the net weight. So it's gone back to 195 grams on the top there. And you can see it reads it in real time from the scale. It's very quick, very fast and accurate. So we just tender that off. Just quickly use this to show you the receipt. and I just look at my journal and just use that to show you the receipt on the screen there. So that pretty much concludes the demo on the weights and measures. So very easy to set up, and an integral part of Touch and the Utilities 17. So that brings me to the end of the demonstrations. I appreciate your time today. I'm just going to quickly recap on just one or two points, non-technical points if you like, non-functional points. Utilities will be free of charge to your customers if their BREP or their BRAP, their Microsoft BRAP, is kept up to date through Retail Realm. So you can start to deliver this ROI to your customers, additional revenue on training and support, and a wealth of different utilities all in one bundle. So please do, after this session, please do reach out to your partner account manager if you need to discuss any specific customers that are on BREP and BRAP or may have lapsed and you need to get them back on plan. If you're upgrading, so if you're a current user of utilities and you're upgrading from version 15, there's no new license key, so you can simply uninstall and reinstall the 17, and the key element will be the same. So again, making planning and deployment a bit easier. And we have Store and HQ versions, which we mentioned. And if you're using any, I must point out, if you're using any standalone version, any of the older versions of Touch or archiving, then you're kindly asked to remove those before installing 17, and we have a document that would cover that as well. So availability will be via the normal FTP site. License keys, if you have license key queries, please reach out to your PAM. And support, you can always log a ticket on Gemini. It's self-registration, and you may find other similar issues there, or you can look at the knowledge base for information as well. So at that point, I'm going to hand back to my colleagues in the US office today. We have Jen Sanger, one of the partner account managers based there, so if you've got any queries, as I say, on availability and licensing. My colleague Jesus,